Hey FLA Tribe, this is Coach Mike. I'm going to bring you another education lecture today. Won't be too long of one. So today we're going over a research article that talked about the combination of training to failure or training to non-failure and which is best for muscle growth. So what did they test? Researchers compared the numbers of repetitions, volume load, time under tension, and the rating of perceived exertion and muscle swelling between two different training protocols for the barbell preacher curl. So this is just the barbell preacher curl is just a bicep exercise. So it's only working a one muscle group. Keep that in mind as I go forward. One protocol involved training to failure on all sets. That means they basically could not lift the bar anymore, and they did this every set they did. And the other protocol involved training to failure only in the last set of exercise. So the first 2 to 3 sets, or first 2 sets, they basically went to 15 reps, and they basically still had a few in the tank to give. Then the last set, they went to failure. So whether it was 15 reps or beyond, they went to failure. So what did they find? Training to failure in all sets resulted in a higher rating of perceived exertion, which makes sense if you're going to max effort every time, and a greater time under tension. So training to failure only in the last set resulted in more total repetitions and volume load. So they're basically saying that for the group that only did max effort on the very last set, they actually had, or in the last set, resulted in more total repetitions and volume load overall. So overall 3 sets. The people who did max effort only on the last set actually did more reps and volume load in general. There was not a significant difference in the muscle swelling in response to each protocol, so that was relatively the same. So what does it mean for you? Occasionally, training to failure on the final set of an exercise, instead of all sets, may facilitate greater total volume load and lower RPE, which is rate of perceived exertion, without sacrificing a muscle swelling effect, so a pump. So you basically get about the same amount of pump, whether you do training to failure all 3 sets or all your sets, or by going, maybe you leave 2 reps in the tank on the first 2 sets, and then the last set you are going to failure. So if you're trying to increase volume load, you might want to take off a rep or 2 and not go max effort on the first couple sets. Save the max effort for the last set. Just so you can get more volume load in, because that's how you progressively add more and more weight is progressive overload. So you want to get more and more volume as you progress, in the weeks of your program that you're doing. So my take on this, if your sets and rep schemes is 3 sets of 15, then choose a weight where the 15th rep is a fight but doable. Then on the 3rd set, you can go to failure. So that means the rep range will go past 15 till whenever you can't do it anymore. So that way you get the minimum volume load you intended, which is the 3 sets of 15, but you get some extra pump points by going to failure on the last set. And that just means your load is increasing as well. So this also tells you it's time to increase the weight on this exercise or modify the sets and reps with a different weight. So that means if you are able to go to 3 sets of 15, 3 sets of 15, and then 3 sets of 25, you might be able to now increase the load at 3 sets of 15 for this exercise in general. So this may be applied to a 5x5, 5 sets of 5, 3 sets of 10 reps, 4 sets of 8 reps, 5 sets of 12 reps. With this study, though, this study only performed a barbell preacher curl, which is a single joint component and exercise. So the effort and fatigue are going to increase when you start to do compound movements such as a back squat, front squat, deadlift, shoulder press, bent over rows, lunges, etc. So compound movements are just multiple joints. So it'll be shoulder and arm, or shoulder and elbow joint. It'll be squat, which is knees, hips, ankles, ankles. So when you do these movements are also more prone to injury while you are under fatigue. So in order to do the big compound movements to failure, your rest must be longer, anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the intensity of the load, may be needed to fully recover from these compound lifts. Also, your rest in between need to be 3 to 5 minutes for these big lifts, squats and deadlifts and such. On top of that, you might want, if you're doing back squat, for example, You might want a safety rack and safety rack to hold, in case you fail. Or if you're doing a bench press, you want someone to spot you on that. If you're going to go to failure, just for safety. If you have any questions about working out, exercises, set and rep schemes, what you should be doing for fat loss and muscle gain, just put your question down in the comments, and we'll get back to you in a bit. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all later.